11 Madison Park has been voted the world's best restaurant, and as it prepares to reopen in New York City, it's also addressing food insecurity through a partnership with the nonprofit Rethink that serves meals to underserved communities around New York. Joining us to discuss is Daniel Humm, the chef and co-owner of 11 Madison Park. And Daniel, it's an incredible juxtaposition, right? Because you typically serve the most well-heeled, wealthiest diners in New York, but you're reaching out to really the marginalized community to get them healthy meals. How is that effort?
No, thank you so much, and nice to talk to you. Yeah, it was really the pandemic that sort of forced us to think differently. Like at first, it was our whole industry was shut down, and obviously all the jobs were at risk. And at the same time, we had food insecure, the amount of food insecure people doubling. Here in New York, we also had farmers who were sitting on food and it going bad. So we went right from the beginning. We turned 11 Madison Park into a community kitchen where we've now, in the past year, cooked over 1 million meals out of that kitchen that usually prepares these high-end meals. And I think, it's been devastating, but at the same time, it's also felt like a little bit of a gift to us. And I just made the promise to myself that when we reopened the restaurant, which wasn't always clear that it was a if, it wasn't a for sure thing, because we're really hurting financially, obviously, because there's no business. But I made a promise that when we do open, that the work to provide meals to food insecure people wouldn't stop, because it was so meaningful and so moving.
I was just going to ask that. I was just going to ask, Daniel, will you continue on with this effort as you start to welcome diners back into your incredibly prestigious restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did in order to do that, we launched a food truck a few weeks ago. And the and we also, we started selling 11 Madison home meals at a really beautiful meals for weekends or special occasions. And part of that price goes towards operating this food truck that is operated by the 11 Madison Park team that gives away food to food insecure people on a daily basis. And when we do reopen, part of the price of every meal, basically per meal, we will provide 5 meals for someone food insecure. And what I love about it is that it's this circular economy, that everyone who is part of 11 Madison Park, the guests, the employees, the suppliers, everyone has a hand in doing good. And I think it's a new model for luxury and using our platform of being this culinary destination in other ways.
Well, and the interesting thing is that you're doing this, your employees are working at this, and a lot of people wonder, why the restaurant industry that's getting hit the hardest is the one to reach out like this. Do you think it's a model that maybe Wall Street could follow as well? Could, Goldman Sachs, which is doing so well, and I don't mean to single them out, all the big banks are doing incredibly well during this pandemic, also have programs like this where they reach out to marginalized communities?
Look, I think it's an issue that's been overlooked and it's unacceptable. I think it's unacceptable to have 2 million people in New York City that are food insecure and have, on the other hand, some other people, creating that much wealth. And there has to be a correction. And I do hope that some of these big companies will think about this and will think about how to get behind some of these initiatives, and because food insecurity is a problem that can be solved. There is enough food. We have enough food. There's not a food shortage. It's just the communication isn't proper, and the support isn't there. So I really do think that we can solve this problem, and,
Well,
and everyone can.
And the
do their part.
infrastructure's not there, right? That's why you have so many people that just aren't within reach of healthy food. Their only choices are bad choices. You're also in a great position to convince some of the biggest movers and shakers in New York to help out, right? Because they want a reservation at your restaurant when you reopen. Will you be in talks with some of these financiers to try and help finance a good truck themselves?
No, absolutely. I mean, for me, it just has given me, we've reached the #1 restaurant in the world. We reached the 3 Michelin stars. We reached the 4 stars New York Times and all these things. And they are wonderful. And we are going to continue to celebrate food in this way. But we are going to use our platform also to just raise awareness to these issues and hopefully make a difference. I mean, the magic of food is just on all levels, right? We all eat a meal on a daily basis, everyone. And it's been really moving being in these neighborhoods. I've been in these really poor neighborhoods, like you're saying. And of course, on one side, it's devastating. But on the other hand, there are also these angels who are working in these community organizations who are doing God's work. And these are the people that we need to support. There is actually, infrastructure. It's just not strong enough, and there is not enough funding that goes towards this. Also, the way government funding goes towards food insecurity, there needs to be a correction also, because those systems are quite antiquated, and it needs to be rethought.
Daniel, just got 20 seconds left. Want to know when you're going to be reopening 11 Madison Park? When can we get a table there again?
We're excited, and we can announce that our restaurant is reopening on June 10th. And that will be a beautiful thing to get our guests back into the restaurant and our teams.